All right, guys, well, we'll jump in here. It's good to see so many faces, and I'm excited to be able to do this with you and have the opportunity to see some of those who have been staying at home this summer. And I want to start by just reading a verse, a passage from Philippians 2, and start with there, and we'll pray and kind of open things up here. So Philippians 2 says this: Therefore, if you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from his love, if any common sharing in the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit, and of one in mind. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant. Being made in human likeness and being found in appearance as man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. And I want to start there just because I really appreciate the opportunity we get to just extend our love for one another in fun new ways as we're all learning to do that. And it's been on my heart through this whole thing that we stay incredibly united together. I think in a world right now where it's really easy to be divided. And if anything, I'd say easier maybe than ever that I've experienced in my life so far. I didn't want that to be the way of our church or any church for that matter. And so, I want to start with that verse. Is just my hope, my vision for us to stay united together, being of one mind, being people who serve one another, look to each other's interests before ourselves. And that's why I want to start with that. But let me pray, and we'll jump in from there. God, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for this community that you've brought us together for your purpose to not only care for each other well, to love each other, serve each other well, but to serve so many more outside of this community. And God, we just pray that you would give us a strength of unity as we continue to move forward. Give us just a complete, just this level of love that we can't even comprehend, we can't even fathom for others around us, God, that we would be marked and known by the way we love. That Converge community would get that reputation by the way we care for people, God. And I just ask that you would give us that supernatural ability and that desire, God. And I just ask also that you'd continue to empower us to be the people that take your message out, your gospel out. And God, I thank you for a community like this who loves people and is committed to people. And we just pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. So, so one of the things that I shared with a few people that I kind of wanted to start with too, and I'm excited to have this Zoom, and part of that is just your guys' suggestions and getting feedback from you. And I want to reaffirm that, because I'm always looking for feedback, suggestions, all that. So don't be afraid to give it to me. And I appreciate many of you who've been bold about doing that. And another thing that I wanted to kind of share is how this has happened is, and I shared this with a few people, is when we started, kind of our online routine in March, and then we were able to go live or go in person outdoors. When we did that, in my mind, I was thinking, hey, I bet things will kind of get better gradually as the summer goes on. I remember even thinking way back in the spring how they were anticipating the warm weather would help with the virus and all that stuff. And so we'd start in June for those who are ready to do it. And slowly we'd build this steam up over the summer. By fall, we'd kind of be back to full strength as people felt comfortable. And the way plans go in these days, and that just didn't play out that way, and that's unfortunate. But I say that just so you guys know where I'm at, where I've been at, and kind of starting with these in-person gatherings. And my heart is that we continue to do them as we're able to, for those who really want and quite frankly feel like they need that in-person encouragement. But we also want to start getting better. My calculations were wrong, and I want to get better at having more of a virtual presence so we can do both well. And so we're still dabbling in the way of Facebook Live and some of those other live formats, and we'll continue to get better. And I've had some great suggestions just from that, how we can make each week better. But this meeting also is another part of that we're going to kind of step back into Zoom. And I know for many, once we got to like June, we were kind of overloaded with Zoom because some of us were on these calls 8 hours a day already. And a lot of that might be true for some of you still, but at least we maybe now have a newer appreciation or a better appreciation for Zoom as time has passed and realize this is a very handy tool. So we're going to keep doing that as well intermittently for our launch team meetings. But again, we're going to continue to try to get better online, virtually, not only for those of you who want that, but also for those who we're trying to connect with outside of Converge community that we don't know who those people are yet, but hopefully they'll be joining us soon. And yeah, so if you have any of those suggestions, that'd be great. Cherie and Mallory have decided to start our, what did you call it, Cherie? Virtual Success Committee or something. She's a true CRC at heart. She loves to start more committees. And so yeah, so I love that. And if you guys have any interest in helping to make those kind of that virtual or online platform more successful, we would absolutely appreciate your help and your input, your volunteerism in those areas as well. So were you going to say something, Sheree? I saw you unmuted.
No, Natalie walked over and unmuted me, so okay. I have nothing to say. But I guess I will say now that I'm unmuted, and I'll take this opportunity. The thought for just, you know, being willing to step up and say, hey, I know there's helpfulness to have a point person or people who are specifically intentional or thinking of how does this, whatever format we're doing, translate to those who are joining virtually. Right. So if people have suggestions of like what's working, what's not working, how can we engage those who are joining remotely? That was my intention of just, you know, offering that to Mitch, like, hey, I'm happy to be that point person just to make sure that as we're doing live events and virtual, how can we make it successful for both parties, both groups of people?
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we do that in the work setting, so, you know, we can make it successful so that everyone in this group can participate, and so we're excited about that.
Yep. Yeah, and we will get better. Actually, I shared this with some of you, but Carter found some cool device that will make us as capable, actually maybe more capable as like the bridge in terms of our live presence and our ability to put that out on the web well. And so that, of course, like a lot of other kind of webcasting things right now, is back ordered because everybody wants them, but it is coming, and so we'll get better. Be better than my phone on a stand, hopefully soon. But yeah, so that is the hope, and we're really excited to figure out ways to connect with everybody. And my intent, my desire would be that everybody feels like they're able to engage well and also feel connected through this. So that's our hope. And that's really one of my big goals for today's meeting, is that we just get together and kind of catch up. I know it's been a while since we've all kind of been in the same space, even a virtual space. And so I wanted to take at least this first part of the meeting here for all of us just to kind of share what we've been up to this summer, and maybe even just like if you could pick 2 highlights or 2 of your best moments this summer, what would they be? And I'm gonna put Kenzie on the spot. She didn't know I was gonna do it, but she's gonna answer. So you guys have a couple. Well, we're gonna take a couple minutes to think, and then she's gonna go first. So go ahead and think, and then once she starts talking, you'll still have some time to think, and then we can just kind of jump in as you're ready from there.
feel like we need Jeopardy music.
Yeah, I don't have Jeopardy music rolling.
I can go first.
Who said that?
I did.
Oh, Rachel, thanks. I'm like, I heard it. I can't see who said it.
So I think for our summer, the best things that have happened is I really like to run. And with my two girls being somewhat bored, they have been biking next to me. And what's really great is my older daughter will just sit there and talk my ear off while I'm running. And it's great because she's actually talking to me more than she normally would in a day because, like, she's just biking next to me slowly, telling me to go faster, but at the same time, just telling me, like, about her day or anything she's thinking about and things like that. So that's been great to, like, just connect again with her and just kind of, like, knowing that I'm moving into some years where she might not want to connect with me as much. So that's been really good. And then I think our second thing is, you know, we are really fortunate in Portage to be around so much water, and so just spending so much time on the lake as a family. Is that what you were looking for?
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. And tell Chad I'm still waiting for my next invite. I was busy the first time, unfortunately.
Well, speaking of water, I think one of mine would be this past week, we went up to Mitch's parents' cottage, and I got the opportunity to work from there with a better view. And but one of the nights I did go on the boat with them, and we were out, and Kaylee was getting up on the knee board, and she thought that Mitch was telling her to try to do a 360, and he was really telling her just to tighten the strap. And so all of a sudden Kaylee busts out a 360 and then gets back on the board and does 3 more. So it was a lot of fun. And then Aiden popped right up on water skis. So it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see them, you know, having fun and being able to feel like they accomplished something this summer, just, you know, something new and exciting. So that was probably one of my highlights. And the other highlight would be our trip out west. And just, it was just so much fun. And it was so nice to be around the mountains in a different view other than my little room upstairs with my computer. Don't all jump at once, or else I'm going to start picking people.
The Ryans will talk.
All right, Ryans.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
So we have one that we agreed on, and then we have individual ones.
All right.
All right.
So first we went to, Michelle's family has a place in a little town called Lakeside, Ohio. It was just a fun little getaway. It's kind of a relaxing place where you do a lot of hanging out with your family, playing games, puzzles, whatever, and walking and ice cream every single day. So of course that was going to make my list of top things from the summer so far. And then individually, I chose just the amount of golf I've been playing. It's probably a little bit excessive, but I love it. And then I'll let Michelle speak for herself on hers.
My parents have a pool, so we've just been at the pool a lot, and the weather's been great. I know this 90 degrees, it was getting a little old, but I like it. So the weather has been perfect.
And while she sits at the pool usually on Sundays and Saturdays, I watch the golf that's on TV because I don't like sitting outside in the heat.
Yes, but it's been good.
Awesome.
Speaking of golf on Sundays, John and I went golfing one Sunday morning, and a friend of mine called when I was getting off the course. He's like, "What kind of pastor goes golfing on Sunday morning?" And I said, "Hey, if you join our church, that could be you too."
We can go. We've done, like, it's hard to pick 2 specific things, but we've done a lot of camping. We took Jared's, our niece and nephew, camping for the first time, and that was like so much fun. Definitely one of the highlights of my summer. And camping with friends, and then we always spend a week at Sandy Pines, which we leave next weekend for that. So I think we're all anticipating and looking forward to that week. So yeah, just want to share anything, Mia and Isaiah, from your summer? Lots of swimming, which has been great. Amelia. Okay, Amelia will be back. She's washing her hands. Clean hands to share about your summer. So stay tuned.
Do you have anything to add to that, Jared?
Well, mine is just general. We did move to this property about a year ago now. So this is my first summer being able to enjoy out here. So last weekend I put up 2 tree stands, which was, to most it probably means nothing, but to me it's extremely exciting to be able to walk right in my backyard and go 100 yards and be able to hunt, which is awesome for me. Yeah. And then the garden has been doing really good, and that's exciting. I love gardening and chickens. So I mean, it's not really like that's just one thing, just enjoying the property. I just love it out there.
Okay.
Amelia, do you have something?
What's the highlight of your summer so far?
Learning how to golf.
Oh yeah, Daddy and Amelia have been golfing, so that's a good one.
That's great.
Playing outside.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, guys.
So I'll go. Mine is finding out I'm pregnant, which was very exciting. And then getting moved into this new rental house that we're in. I really love it, and I love where it's at, and it's everything we needed. I mean, it's not like our dream place, obviously, but God's provided everything we needed, from the amount of bedrooms, enough space for our offices, to just being in the country somewhat and not like right in the city, and just, and awesome neighbors too. So yeah, it's been really good.
And for those who don't know, where's Josh at right now, Sarah?
He is in Alaska, and he'll be back middle of September. So just living it up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel comfortable, Sarah's always open for invitations to come over and eat your food, so she doesn't have to be by herself.
Oh man, yes.
Have you heard from him, Sarah? Is he doing okay?
Yeah. He's able to message me because he has a satellite phone kind of thing that he can do. But yeah, he's on his first hunt right now. He's on the second day. They hiked 13 miles to get to their camp yesterday. They decided to do it all in one day because it was going to rain today, which it did. So he's glad he did that. But the season opens tomorrow, so then they'll be able to start hunting.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a long hike in the mountains.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it, especially because he didn't prepare this year very much, so he's probably hurting a little bit.
Well, we can go next. Abby and I are representing while Sarah feeds Eli over there, but we both agreed on one, just the even being trapped at home gets old, but the amount of time we've gotten to spend with our kids has been a blast. Ironically, while we were talking about that, there was so much screaming in our house that you couldn't do anything. So it's not every minute of the day, but most of the time it's a huge blessing. I really wanted to tell a fake joke that we were pregnant too, but we're not. I just thought it'd be funny if I dropped that news. We're not. Mackenzie, close your mouth. We're not.
That's not true.
But and then mine is selfish like John too. I played a lot of golf with John, ironically. And it's been I got to actually go earlier this week just out by myself one morning and just played alone, and it was beautiful and quiet, and I just spent some time in prayer, and it was just it was good for my brain. So that's been good. What about you? Do you have another one?
Mine is our big news is that we've been working on flipping and renovating our house since we moved in.
We're not selling.
Well, we'll see.
You're pregnant and you're selling your house?
There's a lot happening here. But we've been joking about, shouldn't really say this, but we've been joking about wanting like a limb to fall on our roof just enough so that the insurance would take care of it. And that hasn't happened, which is probably great. But we did just find hail damage on our roof and just found out yesterday that our insurance is going to cover our roof. So we're very excited
So
to be
yeah,
getting a new roof.
just saved $15,000. So
Wow.
That's awesome.
yeah, so roof is covered. That's a huge blessing and provision. So we had saved up that money, and now we can use that on other things. So
That's awesome.
like new golf clubs. And yeah, Abby, what's been your favorite thing all summer to do? Play. What do you like to play?
Baby.
Play babies. What else?
Picking blueberries.
Picking. Yeah. What did we get to go pick?
We have to pick blueberries.
We went and picked blueberries.
Ooh, I love blueberries.
We have like 15 pounds if you want some. So. We didn't pick all 15 pounds. We picked 2 and then bought the rest.
I
But
would say, how many days did you spend picking them with the kids?
no, I handled about 45 minutes and then it was too hot.
Look
So, that's all for us.
One of my highlights has been your beard this summer, Rick. So
I cut it off. It's
noticed
gone.
It looks pretty trimmed.
I had graduation for my school, so I figured I shouldn't look homeless when I go. So my superintendent was also disappointed that I cut it off, so apparently I could have worn it.
There you go. Could have braided it, made it look clean.
I can go. So I have a few. I feel like this is our first summer at our house too, so I've really had a lot of fun just kind of still getting everything where it goes. And we had family stay with us for a week, and that was fun just to kind of get everything ready for them. And then I've been learning the piano ever since like last fall. So I've had time to work on that, and that's been really fun as well because Chris is really musical and I'm not at all, but I'm learning from an app and it actually works pretty well. So if you ever want to try that, it's great. And then another one was just, I feel like with my huddle, I've been growing so much in my relationship with God just because of the accountability and the goals that I'm setting. And it actually like forced me to get a study Bible, which I've never had before. And I always ask everyone in my huddle, like, oh, you have to tell me like the context of this, like who wrote this and when was it? And like, I always just wanted to know more. And they're like, you need to just get a study Bible. And so I finally did, and I'm just like loving it. And I just feel like I'm growing a lot because of that. So, yeah.
That's great to hear. And it's great to hear we're going to have another musician in the Converge band too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't hear, what are you learning to play?
What?
What are you learning how to play?
The piano.
Cool.
Yeah. It's working pretty well. I mean, I'm not an expert, but it's fun.
That's cool.
I think we're the only ones left, maybe. So I think we have to go.
By default.
By default.
We've had kind of a boring
We've
summer.
had a boring summer, but I'd say probably my favorite part is seeing my family. Both of my sisters were in state and in the area. So seeing them and my little niece, seeing her for the first time since she was like just born. She's 8 months now. So that has been really exciting, and just FaceTiming them and seeing the baby all the time. I think that's probably my highlight.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're here. We've got jobs. We're alive. So
Yeah.
those are all great things as well.
Okay, this is Kristen. I haven't been able to see everybody. It's been great listening to everybody. One of my highlights was, I've been praying about it for years, that I got to help baptize my mother at the bridge on the 25th of, what was it, July? Or no. Yeah, we're beginning of August right now. And then I get to have vacation next week, hopefully if it's been approved. I've been told I get to have vacation. So I get to not have to stress about work and relax out at South Haven all week. So it'll be nice.
That's great. I'm so excited for you.
Where are you going in South Haven, or what are you doing there?
My mother has a trailer at a boat club because they used to have a boat as well. So just relax out at the trailer all week and walk into town and, just relax all week out there. It'll be nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. You certainly worked hard enough. You deserve that right now.
Yes.
That's great.
Okay, we didn't go yet either. So let's see, the kids mentioned a couple things that they're excited about or had fun. One of them is just spending time on the water, and we usually like melt in the heat, but having an opportunity to get wet makes it all like more enjoyable. So that's been a good way to handle the hot summer. And we've had some cousin time, which is great because they all live out of town because we moved here from family. So that's been nice to see cousins and have time to do that. And they've also taken care of a lot of animals since quarantine began. So that's been really fun for the kids. I've enjoyed gardening, and we've done a lot of landscaping this summer. So I've just really been glad that we've had so much time at home because it's helped us tackle a whole bunch of home projects that I think wouldn't happen very easily if we had been like working at our offices full time. So that's been great. Andy?
I enjoy not having to drive everywhere. This whole staying at home thing is growing on me.
Yeah, when we have to run errands, we're like super annoyed.
You guys get the Shoppers Way out there shipped and all that?
No, although Presidential Brewery does deliver Beer Fairy Tuesday to our house, so that's a bonus. But yeah, we drive into town like once a week.
Okay.
And then we're kind of like, okay, do all the errands on Westnedge possible because we're not going back. And our kids have only sold all of the soda we bought for a week one time, like at a lemonade stand on a corner. We're like, we just went shopping. But thankfully that only happened once.
That's funny.
We made a lot of money, so it was worth it.
That's
then
good.
it's worth it.
Yeah, you made a profit. That's
I
good.
mean, we paid them back, so it's like, I can't really complain.
You didn't have pop for the rest of the week, but you made money.
Right. Yeah, his caffeine fix was like on a major shortage for like a good week.
That's good. What about you, Monica? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening. So my highlight was back in July, like 2 days after my grandparents both had birthdays. So my mom's dad is born on the same day as my dad's mom, which is like really like strange. Like people are like, how does that happen? I have no idea. But there was supposed to be a family reunion this year at my grandfather's house, and they ended up canceling it. But I had already taken the time off, so I basically, risked myself getting on flights to go see my grandfather. And it was great to see that he was surprised because he was only expecting myself to show up, and my mom was actually with me. So she took a different flight route, but our ending destination was the same, to fly into Richmond International. So we both got there, got the rental car, got in the car, drove like an hour and some change to go see my grandfather, which was great. And then all of my family, almost everyone, started showing up to my grandpa's house to kind of like make his birthday weekend, something, because they do, like, my family loves barbecuing. So there was a lot of barbecuing going on before I got there. And then they had like another barbecue the weekend that I was there for, like his a continuation of his birthday. And they got him a brand new tractor. So he has like a 0 turn, so it'll be better on his bones because he turned 93 this year. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, yeah,
I'm still mowing when I'm 93.
I don't.
Wait.
I don't want to anymore.
Yeah, he was smiling on his tractor. I have like pictures and videos, and I gathered the family around to take a family photo because we never take pictures together. So, you know, he has a picture of him with his little yellow tractor, and like the whole family and everybody took turns driving it. And then another highlight was my cousin got engaged around the time of his birthday. I think they had like a birthday celebration thing for them. Well, for my cousin. And then he proposed like, I think a day or two after his birthday. So now there's a wedding in our family. Like, I mean, there's 29 grandchildren, but I'm like, that's amazing that one of my cousins that's my age, he's getting married. So I'm really happy for him.
And here I thought that your one of your number one highlights was going to be your little nephew.
Yeah, he's also a highlight. I got to see him yesterday, and he's a hot mess per usual, but I'll have to send you guys the video I took of him. He was in this little like baby like carrier that you can like wear the baby, essentially. You just put them into the little holder. And he like was begging me to put him in there. And I'm like, hold on, your dad's got to attach it. So I go upstairs in their bathroom, like, and I make this like video, and we're just in there dancing. And I'm like, go Shiloh, go Shiloh. And you can like see him dancing. It's the cutest thing.
Well, and he just started walking, which was the cutest video I've ever seen. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but well, thanks. That's pretty amazing that your granddad is still driving a tractor at 93.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I think we got everybody there. What I want to do now is sometimes it's a little bit easier to go a little bit deeper in these smaller groups. So what I'm going to do is break you up into breakout rooms into 3. And what I want you guys to talk about is these are fun and we get to celebrate things that are happening, but I want to go a little more specific in the breakouts and say, what specifically have you seen God do or been doing over this summer? And kind of that way we've talked about the stone piles in the past, always remembering how God is faithful. Even in kind of chaotic times like this, we can see his faithfulness continually. And so to talk about that, and then maybe another one would be, where have you experienced a lot of difficulty or challenge or anxiety, something like that, that you want the group to pray into. And so we're going to break out for about 30 minutes. And so spend probably, 15, 20 minutes just kind of talking through those things, both what has God been doing, but also maybe some of those challenges, and then spend that rest of that time praying for each other, with each other. And then we'll come back at the end and kind of go back into close and kind of future stuff and that sort of thing. So I will shift you guys into breakout rooms right now as I do that.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to say it.
All right, well, that's actually a good segue, because I was going to invite anybody who wanted. Obviously, I think sometimes those smaller groups are great because it can get deeper, a bit more intimate, but it also, for those who it's easier to talk in smaller groups, it gets the juices flowing a little bit. So I was gonna invite anybody who wanted to share maybe one of those cool things that they've seen God do this summer, or maybe something that you're just would appreciate some prayer from the whole team. So if you want to, go for it. I'm going to leave it open here for however long you guys want it open. So.
Oh. I'm allowed to unmute. I just think in general, praying for all of our teachers and those involved with the schools is just going to be so huge, just as we've been talking. And just I can empathize a little bit working at a homeless shelter and being like, no matter what decision you make, it's going to be really unpopular. And I know, just talking to my wife, and we were with Mallory, I know there's a lot of other teachers and people involved in schools in this church, and it's like, no matter what decision they make this fall, like, it's the wrong decision is what people are going to tell them. And that's just so difficult and so draining. And to just kind of have that burden as all of our teachers are preparing the next 2-3 weeks here to go back to whatever they're going back to.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, Matt, it's it got me thinking too. Kenzie and I were having a conversation. I don't even know what we can do or how we can do it going forward, but that was something that I'd been thinking about a little bit too, is what is a way that Converge Community can bless teachers in the upcoming month. And I know obviously we have a lot of districts, we have a lot of schools, so we probably have to be, creative how we do that or how many. So if you guys have any ideas or anything comes to mind, that would be really cool. But I think that would be a great natural first or kind of outreach opportunity for us to lean into.
We're just going to send our kids to you, Mitch, so you can tutor them.
All right, done. You might not like the results you get, but
but they'll learn how to shoot a bow.
Yeah, that would be true. I could do that.
Mitch, you're so good at awkward silence. He's like, I'm just gonna wait.
Yep.
Yeah. I love breaking into these small groups because I think it just helps us get to know different people at a deeper level. So that's awesome. Yeah, we just had really good conversation around things that have been just going well, like little surprises, and whether it's coworkers or neighbors, we all just talked about different things that have been a blessing through this time, and that was really awesome. I think like for me, just like I want to walk a lot with the dog to like get out of this crazy house, and I just end up kind of sometimes being gone for like 45 minutes because I run into a neighbor and talk to them, and like having so many people home at the same time, and just I have nowhere else to go. I mean, I have to go back to work, I guess, but that's been a really cool blessing during this time.
Yeah, Kenzie and I keep talking about that, how it really is an opportunity for the neighbor right now. Like I've not experienced, and I think that's you hit the nail on the head, Sheree, is just more people are at home, and that's not actually super typical in our culture. And when we are, we're usually on the go, so we don't make time for that.
Natalie says he can't hear you say mm-hmm. He can see me nod in my head.
For me, I'd like to just ask for prayer for, both Josh and I, but especially for Josh, just as he's, this time, I don't know, in Alaska it's such a part of him that it can be such a good time for him to refresh and just like silence all the voices in his head. And I know so far from what I've heard, it's already been really refreshing for him, especially just getting this house set up. He felt like a lot of pressure to get this house set up for me before I left. And just with having a baby, like he has that all in his mind. I think he's putting a lot of pressure on himself. But anyway, if you guys could just pray for continued renewal for him while he's out there, and just protection, of course, because he is doing semi-dangerous things, but just that he'll really really connect with God out there, because I know this is a very special time for him, and I know that it can come under extreme attack because it is such a good time where he can connect with God. So, and for me too as well, because it's hard to be without him. But just that I'm motivated. I've been lacking in my motivation to be creative and do my job and my Etsy shop stuff. So just motivation for that and creativity to come back.
All right, so I was in the breakout group that I was a part of. We were talking about like basically what Cherie was saying was getting to spend time and talk to people that you normally wouldn't. So, you know, I'm in the laboratory, so like most of the time the conversation is like surrounding the stuff that we're working on, or it's like boring. But recently our conversations have been like really hilarious, and people have begun to like open up more about like their depression or anxiety, or you know, people dealing with like deeper issues with family members, because some people have not been able to see their family, and other people have just been like struggling because, you know, different people are like physical touch, they need to hug someone. Other people are like, I'm totally fine doing phone calls. And other people are like a mixture of the two. So like as a whole, it's been kind of like a blessing to see everyone kind of like coming together and like talking to one another and joking and like laughing, versus like our more serious nature of just like talking about what's going on in the lab. But for us to like come together and like sit down and have conversations at the end of the night when everybody's cleaning up and like making jokes about the Rona, like all those different kinds of things, and like everybody being a listening ear for one another, because a lot of people in the lab don't have a relationship with God. So like there's like very few of us that do, and we've all just kind of been listening ears. And when people are having like either bipolar depressive episodes or a depression episode, we're like encouraging people to continue to take their medicine, and like, hey, let's go for a walk on our second break because the sun will be out, and everybody coming together and people going on walks and making more healthy choices together. Like people saying, hey, like, let's, you know, we're going to get up once an hour and go get a drink of water. Just seeing like more healthy habits for people beginning to evolve was great.
That's cool. That's cool that you're being a place of care, a person of care rather, for your community there too. That's cool. Well, guys, we'll kind of wrap things up here. But before we do, one of the things that I'm excited about that I want to share, actually, I don't want to share too much. I want to let her do it. But I'm excited for what Mallory is getting going. And I want to give her an opportunity to tell you about that, and even for you to kind of pass the word on into your huddles and stuff like that. Sometimes I wonder, because our email and Facebook, and I'm not entirely sure if everybody's getting what they're supposed to be getting. So if you guys can be talking about that even verbally through your huddles, that's really helpful. If you guys can be just texting one another, that's helpful to kind of keep people in the loop as well too. But go ahead, Mallory, tell us what you're up to.
Okay, so we were talking in our huddle about how we have this awesome group of youth, and there are a lot of different ages. So we kind of said, okay, 4th through 12th grade. We know we don't have any 12th graders, but just to kind of cover Audrey, Bryther up, that way we could get together and just love on each other and grow together and have a community for them. Because we were realizing that we all have our huddles, but they don't have that, and they don't have that community right now, especially because a lot of them might have families that have different autoimmune things going on where they can't really get together with other kids. So I'm really excited to meet with them. We're going to do the next 2 Wednesdays on Zoom from 1 to 1:45, and then when school starts, the time will just go into the evening, and the night might change. But yeah, so I'm really excited. And this week we're going to start by talking about some of our norms, and just like what we want our group to be, so we can kind of develop it together. So excited.
Yeah, that's really cool, Mallory. And
Awesome.
I was so encouraged and excited when you called, and you had this idea, and you just never know what you're going to get. And when you said that, I'm like, man, that is something that Kenzie and I have even been thinking about of how do you build that huddle DNA all the way down to our youngest kids. And we'll still have to do some more mining to figure out how do we do it with our even younger kids. But I just think this is an awesome start right now, and grateful for you kind of heading up the charge here to do it. So thank you for doing that.
I feel so lucky because all of the kids in that age group are just so cool. Like, I'm really excited to get to know them all better. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. And then Wednesday night, there's something going on here I heard too, right, Sarah?
Yes, there is. So at Mitch and Kenzie's, we're gonna be putting on a sip and paint, and I'm sure most of you have heard what that is. But yeah, basically you can drink your beverage of choice, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic in my position. But and we'll just be painting. I put in our event, we're voting on the painting we're gonna base it off of right now, and yeah, we'll probably just be hanging out, and it'll be a fun time. It starts at 6:30.
We still have spots open too. So even if, I mean, it would be great if some of you just wanted to grab a friend or a neighbor or someone else, and we're doing it outdoors and the weather looks like it's going to be good. So we should be able to maintain outdoors. And yeah, it's going to be
we're gonna be getting quite a few tables. So like you
Spread
can,
out.
yeah, we'll really be all spread out and have a lot of space too. So. And Jared, you're still involved in that fishing thing on Tuesday nights too. So, and I know Chad's been there. So if anybody's looking at fishing or want to try fishing, I got a boat. My dad let me use his boat too, so I've got some space. I know Jared can find you some space. He's connected to all those guys too. So if you're interested in that, Andy, you got a boat, I heard. So we'll try to do that. But that's been a cool thing. I've been less connected with that group, but it's been really cool to see how that group of guys, both inside and outside of Converge, have connected and gotten to know each other and banter and, you know, tell fish tales about fish we did or didn't catch. And so yeah, so there's some cool stuff coming on. I want to encourage you guys to keep being creative, to figure out how to engage people in whatever ways you're able and comfortable doing. And we're going to keep trying to put things out there for you guys to be involved in, but also want to encourage you guys to do things on your own to continue to build those relationships for whenever we can start moving forward more officially here. So with that said, one of the things I wanted to do was give you kind of some, and I mentioned this before, so you might have already heard this, but some calendar stuff in there. And so next Sunday and the last Sunday, the 30th, we're going to kind of practice our preview services a little bit. So we're going to try to start dabbling a little bit with technology. I'm still not exactly sure. We can always do it in our yard, but I'm going to meet up with our staff this week and try to figure out where we should be this Sunday. But we're going to continue to move forward, have in-person stuff, but try to beef up our online presence over the next few weeks so that our hope is the third weekend of September, we'll do our first official preview service. And in a perfect world there, we'll know kind of where our permanent when I say permanent for the fall location would be. And we're kind of shooting for probably like a church building or even maybe like a rental venue. And so we would do that every 3 weeks, starting the third week in September. And that would be something that you can invite people to, obviously. And that will be something we will really try to have our technology spot on for that, so we can cast that, and people from home or can be involved, and people can show up. Now, some of the hiccups in that could be whether we can be indoors at that point, and I sure hope we can. But that would be one of the potential hiccups of that we're weighing through. But one of my thoughts for our first one, mid-September, would be getting like the pavilion in Vicksburg or in Texas Corners and just renting that. Because I know mid-September, the weather will probably still be great. It'd still be nice to know an inside location that we have kind of locked in that'll get us through the fall if we're able to meet in person. But even if we're not, my thought is that if we get pushed to kind of do more of an online only deal, we'd probably just hijack the Bridges space and use their technology and do that. So that's kind of our hope, is to kind of ride preview services every 3 weeks through the fall into January with a January 31st launch, if it's possible. But that's the goal. And all of this is kind of hopefully building our numbers in such a way that we can share the load when we launch in January 31st. It would be insane to think about going weekly at this point in terms of a full-scale service, because it means everybody in this call and more would be on all the time. And one, I don't know how healthy that is, but two, it would kind of, I worry that our missional efforts would take a hit. And so I think I like this 3-week rotation because it gives us that preview service. We get to worship, practice that. That's something, if you're unsure or your D-church friends, or you can invite them into. And then we have the mission week, which we'll be creative with that as we've been. And then after that, the second week would be a launch team meeting. So in that order, it'd go worship, mission, launch team, mission, worship, launch team. Maybe some weird exceptions around Christmas and stuff like that. So that's kind of the order. And then the hope would be during our launch team meetings, we kind of do this stuff, but we'll actually have to get into some more nitty gritty stuff if we're working out preview services. And we'll be hopefully teeing a lot of you up to take part in making those things happen in various ways too. So I know that some of you guys are going to still lay low, and that's cool, but I love ideas like, you know, Cherie said, hey, I'll help run the live. And, you know, so we can figure out ways too, if you're going to lay low, can't be there in person, that you can be not only connected, but really help in making these things happen in the future. And then for those launch team meetings, we'll probably do some other creative variations where Zoom will be an easy way to do that. We might even, I've heard a lot of even just feedback. People liked those smaller kind of backyard groups of people, you know, 6 to 10 people. We could play around with that again and kind of have them guided as a group across, you know, kind of across the Kalamazoo area. So any ideas in those departments, I'd love, but just know that's kind of going to be the pattern starting the the third weekend in September. And we're still have to get some work. I got the official no from Lakeland Reformed yesterday. Their consistory voted not to let us use or rent their place. So a little disappointed in those kinds of things, but at the same time, it just helps to have a clear answer too. I've got another conversation going with a CRC church that seems a little bit more hopeful. The Bridge has obviously said, you guys can use our space if you want to, but I've been trying to find places to the south a little bit more. Because the hope would be, without knowing exactly what we can do indoors for the next 4 or 5 months, I would hate to lock in a lease in a month from now and be paying on a dead horse. So I'd rather just find a very, willing partner that would let us use their space. Or we've even thought, man, if we're only going every 3 weeks, we don't need office space. Like we could even rent a wedding venue or something like that where they're setting up chairs. And I know there's the one here in Schoolcraft. There's one in Vicksburg. Do something like that too. So so those are kind of some of the ideas that we're going to lean into. But I'll get the official dates out to you guys too. But just know that I think there's Labor Day. We won't meet. The weekend after that will kind of be a launch team meeting, and then the weekend after that will be our first preview service, and then it'll be basically every 3 weeks after. So that's the plan going forward. And there's a lot of ways we need to get better and improve, but we're going to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together and see what happens. And that's what these couple weeks in August are going to be about, is experimenting and practicing. And then the 23rd, August 23rd, Jake and Kaylee have opened up their brewery for that morning to do a breakfast there. And so the whole purpose of that is really for us to connect and hang out, but then to maybe invite some friends that might be interested in hearing about Converge. Now, I'm not going to do like a talk, but I might do a bit of a 3-minute plug about who we are And, you know, just, we're going to be here. We're getting going. If you're interested, talk to the friend you came with, kind of thing. But it'll be, for the most part, just really an opportunity for you guys to invite a friend to a free breakfast. And so they have a 75-person max to observe like OSHA distancing rules. And Kaylee's putting in RSVP function on the website, on the presidential website. So as soon as that's up and going, you guys will be able to RSVP to that. And it'd be great. Obviously, we hope you come. And then it'd be really great if you were able to bring a friend with you or something like that. So if not, no big deal either. But that's going to be happening on the morning of the 23rd. We haven't pinpointed a date, but they have to be ready to operate by 11. So I'm guessing it's going to be kind of early. So like 8-ish or between 8 and 9, somewhere in that ballpark. So we'll get more details out on that as soon as we have them. But that's what's coming up. And yeah, I just wanted to maybe give you guys an opportunity to ask me questions, give me ideas, and then from there we'll kind of close things up and see you guys next week.
Okay, so go ahead, Sherry.
Go ahead. No, Monica, you go.
Okay. So you said you want to do something for like the teachers on the different school districts, correct? So I actually went out and grabbed a few like bags of like school supplies, so like paper, scissors, notebooks, that kind of thing. And I guess I can like start back to school tote if there's like teachers who have like students in the classroom who don't have school supplies. I guess we could start that if like people would be willing to do that. Like if you go to the dollar store and just grab some extra hand sanitizers, like would that be something you'd be willing to do, or is there like a different way that you'd like to bless the teachers in our district?
Yeah, so one of the challenges are there are a lot of schools, and so we don't have to be, but it would be great if it could be semi-equitable and you know, be able to care for all the schools in one district or something like that, you know. So that's one of the factors we have to consider. And so, and we also have to find out what do they need. Maybe they have some of those systems built in, maybe another outside organization's bringing that in. So we'd want to know that. But yeah, I think that could be really good, especially if that fills a need. And I know we've got a lot of teachers in this group, so we could even kind of get feedback from you all to say, hey, what do you think would fill the need? I know Matt knows him, Bob. He's a church planner, and I saw they just like pulled up a barbecue like food trailer up to a school for the teachers and just gave them like free barbecue.
Yeah, he
sounds accurate.
He lives in Holland, and there's just this barbecue place in town that he has frequented for many, many years, and it's sort of become like his mission field, so to speak. And I was talking to him about this because I saw the pictures on Facebook, and I was like, he's living his best life. But he's just gotten to know the owner over the past couple of years and just been intentional about investing in him. And I don't know exactly how it came about, but got talking with the owner and was like, we should just like drive around and like give free barbecue lunches to like some of the local teachers. So they did that. And this guy who owns a barbecue restaurant just loaded up a bunch of food, and he has a truck, and they just kind of drove around for a day and did it. And it was a really good thing. And so I think that I'm not a teacher, so obviously I can't speak, but I know a lot of teachers, a lot of schools are going online. So I don't know exactly what supplies they do or don't need right now. But I think some way to bless the teachers themselves to say, I'm thinking of you, I'm praying for you, you've got it tough, you know, I'm sure would go a long ways.
Yeah, so that was
so I don't want to speak on their behalf.
No, and I think just like that, I use that as an example, Monica. That could be another option, more like something like that, where just kind of direct care for the teacher, which would be really cool. Every teacher likes to eat, wants to eat something, so if we could do something like that. And I know one of the things I've been thinking through is, you know, we're in this weird phase. We definitely will need money as a church, obviously, and that's what you guys have been faithfully giving towards, but we're not really spending a lot of money right now. And so one of the things that I've been thinking is like, man, could we just do some, you know, kind of invest in the community right now during a season where the community is feeling it, you know? And so that would be something I'd love to kind of discuss too, is, you know, whether that's using some of the money we have and doing something like this, or doing kind of our own special fundraiser where we get community support like Bob did, get somebody to pitch in barbecue and partner with them and do something like that too. So
Just not to hash all this out now, but I do, I've also seen Sarah, they did it for her teachers for like Teacher Appreciation Week. They had a group come in and provide coffee, like Big B type coffee drinks for all teachers. And I know a little bit the people from Coffee Rescue, the local, they have a ambulance that they drive around that's outfitted as a coffee outfit. So we could do something like that too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Teachers love coffee.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. And Coffee Rescue, they kind of a nonprofit themselves then too?
No. It's the reason they drive an ambulance is it's like looks like an, yeah, I'll send you a link. Okay. It's their marketing more than anything else. But
it's more like a food truck that just does drink specialties.
Yeah. Gotcha. Like they're rescuing you, giving you the caffeine to the vein kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, they sell at K-Wings and they have syringes filled with espresso too.
That's amazing.
That's funny.
I want one.
So it sounds like we're handing out syringes to all the teachers and just telling them, no, I swear there's coffee inside.
You'll have to share needles though. I hate to cut out, but we have 2 starving children that are falling apart. So we're going to have to go feed them real quick.
All right. Sounds
good.
It
was great to see you guys.
All right. Thanks, Rick. See Sarah. I know she's back there somewhere. So Cherie, you were getting ready to jump in and say something? Yeah, no?
That's my idea is fleeting. It's gone.
Oh, you lost it?
I did. I totally lost it.
Oh no. All right, well, any other questions, thoughts, ideas, suggestions? And obviously you can always call me, text me, email me, whatever, if you want to do it that way too.
Okay, so another quick idea. Since we're like on the topic of like giving to the teachers, are there like, I guess this would be like a question for the actual teachers in the group, like, you guys love coffee, would like some sort of like coffee mug or like some sort of like, I don't know, something along the lines of something teachers actually like, be like, you know, something cool, like if we could like decorate coffee mugs for teachers like this, that could be like a fun like thing somebody could do with the kids on like Zoom, everyone just like make a coffee mug and give it like to the, I don't know, but something like that where it's like a hand, like something that you kind of actually do, and then give it to a teacher. Would that be something that we could possibly do? I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Maybe. I think we got to think through all the weird things right now. Like, I don't know, Mally, maybe you can speak into this too. If it was me, I wouldn't want an open mug because it's just asking for little germs.
You know, something that we did that was so cool on our paddleboarding outing. It was a paddleboarding outing with Freedom Paddle Company, and it was for like women who are exiting the sex trafficking industry. And my friend who runs Freedom Paddleboard, she gave us each a name of a woman who's like leaving the industry, and we each wrote an individual letter to that person. And so, you know, for teachers, I mean, maybe we could do the same sort of thing where we like write some like encouraging notes, and if each family wanted to write a handful of notes, and we could, you know, combine them together and then, you know, send them to each of the schools, and even if it's a generic note from each family, and combine them and then kind of replicate them. Sorry, I couldn't come up with that word. That might be a cool way to like bless a lot of teachers, be like, hey, from Converge community, here's like 20 encouraging notes from our congregation, something like that. That would be really personal. That's just a thought.
No, that's good. Yeah, I like the idea because it's a combination of what you're saying too, Monica, but it's that personal touch. But that's definitely more doable and more economical to do just a note, something like that, than trying to purchase a bunch of mugs or something like that. So. All right, guys. Well, like I said, if you have any ideas, anything you want to add, any way you want to help, I've had Cherie and I've had Matt and had Mallory kind of jump out at me the last few weeks saying, hey, I want to help. What can I do? And I just love that. So if you're there and you have that time, you have that energy, or even if you have a specific thing that you really want to lean into, like Mallory reached out for, please, please, please feel free to either just start it or contact me and let me know how I can support you in making that happen. And yeah, because we do have a lot of ground to take over the next 3 or 4 months. And I think it's going to be an exciting 3 or 4 months, but it's going to be all hands on deck kind of thing too. So yeah, thank you for your continued commitment to the team, to this church, and all the energy you are and will put in. I know we love you guys. We appreciate you. And yeah, it's just really good to see you all tonight too. So with that
Mitch, I remember my question.
Oh, there you go.
I remember my question. My question was like, so when we had our huddle over today and I just kind of learned about some people who are moving and whatnot and leaving the church group. And I just wondered if you could give us an update on those who aren't on the Zoom call tonight, like what's going on with the people who are part of the core team, etc.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know how specific I can be for people without, like, I want them to tell. But there are a few families moving. I mean, Autumn put hers on Facebook, so I think that's pretty public. So they've decided, I picked them up from the airport last week, and they were out west for a while, and they decided to move back to her family in Oregon. So they'll be heading out soon. I'm not exactly sure their timeline and stuff. And then I think it's pretty public because the Thomases put their house listing on the Facebook group. But he actually took a position in the boys' home that he grew up in. And so it's the first time it's ever happened in the Tennessee Boys Homes organization that a former, I don't know what they call them, guests or kids child that come through the system actually comes back and works. So he's going back as a ranch manager and educational supervisor because they're opting to do all, which is funny, isn't it? He's going to be an educational supervisor.
He loves talking about that.
But they're going to choose, because they have a hybrid schedule down there, they're going to choose to keep all their kids there because of the nature of those kids and the challenges there. And he's going to help facilitate that a little bit. So they're moving as soon as, I think, at the latest, probably September 1st or something like that. Pending, their house did get an offer, so I think that's going through. And then there's another family, but I don't know how public this is, and so I really don't feel like I can say. And that family isn't actually leaving. They're going to be a virtual member of Converge, and so yeah, I just don't know if I should share that info at this point. But other people, the Biermans have said they wanted to step out of this, and so I still haven't been able to have a follow-up conversation with them. And I mean, you know, it's one of those things where I trust their decision, but I want to make sure that, you know, it wasn't feeling like he wasn't meeting some expectations that I didn't have for him, you know, something like that. So that's the one that I've heard from that says, no, we're stepping away, and they are very gracious about it. Say, hey, we're going to continue to give to Converge and that sort of thing. There's definitely no hard feelings or anything like that. I don't think they were feeling up to kind of this level of commitment with everything going on in the world. So those are the ones that I know with the kind of the mystery people that I don't know if I can actually share with you guys, and maybe you'll figure it out on your own. If you do, that's great. But then other people, like they're in, and we talk to them pretty regularly. And like I was just talking to the Austins yesterday and today, and they were going to be on, and he got called in to work at 4:30 tonight, and so he's working at a senior home, and he's the maintenance at the what's the name of it? I can't remember. But anyways, he's the maintenance guy there, so he kind of gets called in and out a bunch, and he's got the hard job of not getting sick, because if he does, it puts all their guests really in danger, and even his livelihood for that matter too. So they've been just more distant for that reason. And then there's lots of others, just they're busy. I know the O'Greens are on vacation right now, which is really cool. And I know the Losies have been pretty busy too. So those are the updates I have. Those are the changes. And as far as I know, everybody is, and I talk to them pretty frequently, are still all in and trying to figure this out just like we are. But I want to encourage you on that note to feel free. Obviously, you guys are going to be doing a good job keeping track of the people in your huddle. But even just feeling that extra freedom to maybe reach out to somebody outside of your huddle that you haven't connected to in a while, just check in. Maybe it's a text, maybe it's a Facebook message, or pick up the phone and call them and just see how they're doing and see how you can pray for them. And I think as best as we can try to stay, I really love the strength of our huddles right now, and they've helped us stay connected in that way. But I would love us to grow in being able to connect more corporately. And it's just challenging right now with everybody kind of spread out. And so the one thing that would help that is if we all just got a little better of reaching out to another person you haven't talked to in a while and just say, hey, how's it going? And make sure they know that they're being thought of and prayed for, and still feel part of it. I know Kenzie and I do that a decent amount. So we kind of know what everybody is doing, but I know it's harder when you guys don't exactly know what they're doing. So on that encouragement, I'd just say, if you don't know where they've been, just reach out to them and ask them and say, hey, I've been thinking about you. What have you been up to? And show them love that way. So yeah, so that's where we're at on the team stuff. And I wish we could say we're growing, and unfortunately we're not. So start inviting your friends into this. And that's the heart behind the preview services. Is I've talked to many of you that know some friends that are Christians that just aren't associated with the church right now. And I actually have a feeling, not that I want disgruntled church people, but I do have a feeling that there'll be some people that use this big natural break as a natural transitioning point if they were already kind of feeling disconnected from their church before. So there might be people looking. So we're going to kind of use those preview services, not only for us to practice doing that well, but I think it'll be an opportunity to invite your church friends that may not have a church home into that. And I know another way to do that is just through volunteering. Like if you know somebody that really wants to help doing maybe something that you're doing, whether it's music or helping with kids or whatever, that's a great place. In fact, Carter was the first one to add to our church, and he got a friend from college who's a pianist and singer. She's in the music school that is just kind of walked away from her faith for a while and is kind of wanting to get back into it and wants to jump in and be in the church plant and the worship team. So Carter gets the award for the first one added here. And he's actually on vacation right now too. That's where he's at. So I'm grateful he's getting some time away. And but yeah, so that would be a great thing. If you know people are interested in how they could help, connect, whatever, we're going to find out ways to do that. All right, guys. Well, like I said, appreciate you all. Thank you for being on tonight. And we will get you details ASAP about next Sunday. But for sure, it'll be Sunday evening. But for sure, we'll have that online format set up, ready to go. We're going to try to have more supplemental stuff for you too, like song lyrics and some of that other stuff out there, Bible verses. So we'll get more and more prepared and better at this, but we'll have some of that ready to go. And then for those who are going to attend in person, we'll get those details out quickly as well. So that's what I have for tonight. And with that said, why don't Matt, you close us up in prayer, and then we'll say goodbye.
Alrighty, this has been fun. Let's pray. God, thank you so much just for the technology that you have blessed us with, Lord, that during this time when there's a lot of uncertainty and many aren't able to join in-person gatherings, we can meet online and still connect and still find ways to do life together, Lord, and to just share how you're moving and working in our lives. And that's really cool. And I thank you for that, God. I just pray for everything that was discussed here tonight, Lord. You know what's on our hearts. You know the struggles that we all have during this time, things that we're encountering daily or things that are coming up soon that are just weighing heavy on us, Lord God, whether that's work or personal life or a combination of both. God, just take these burdens from us. We know that you are there. We know that you are able to provide. You know that you will make a way and that you are already working on a way out of our struggles, Lord God. Be with us all this week, Lord. Help us to continue to connect with each other, whether it's via in person or text or calls or online, whatever format that is. God, just bring to mind people that we can reach out with and connect with this week, God, and keep us all safe as we go about our lives, and just help us to focus on you in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week, and we'll stick around too if you want to talk. But if you don't, we'll see you next week.
You want dinner, don't you?
Hi, everybody.
All right.